I'm here to give it to y'all straight. It is way more simple than we all like to imagine that it is, guys. If you want to get better at your sport, running, cycling, whatever endurance sport, all you need to do is as many hours as you possibly can. That means you. How many hours can your body tolerate? How many hours do you have available, etc. Most of those hours, you need to do them really chilled, guys. Pretty chilled, nice pace. There's a bit of a zone there, but they need to be mostly chilled training. And the final part of the equation, every once in a while, you're going to have to do some hard exercise, running, biking, whatever, like I say. And that's it. You're going to repeat this month after month, year after year, with a couple of blocks of rest in between. And guess what? You're eventually going to get to your peak, okay, guys? It's so simple, but there's a lot of hubbubaloo out there, guys. Different phases, base training phase, peak phase, intensity phase, or building phase. What does all this mean? Are we overcomplicating it, guys? Or is it way more simple than we really like to imagine? One of the biggest things that I see people always getting tripped up with is this concept of base training, guys. Here we are, beginning of November, a perfect time to speak about this exact thing. Base training, guys. How do we need to go about it? Today I wanted to go into a couple of things, how Dr. Keegan thinks about, goes about, and executes my base training phase, how you guys need to do it as well. I want to give you a couple of little tips, a couple of pitfalls that you might need to avoid. Watch out for these things about base training, guys. We're going to go into a little bit of a deep dive today on this base training concept. Let's go right for it. The idea of base training always comes accompanied by a bunch of weird kind of like myths, bro science myths. For example, during the base training phase, you can't do intensity. Any intensity that you do is going to completely sabotage your base building, or you have to do 8 weeks of only low intensity, only small ring training, and then you can start to do a bit of intensity. Like, there are tons of these little kind of weird little rules that have been circulating around the sport for many years, guys. And we are here to clarify those, guys. What is base training? Is it really as complicated as people make it seem, or are we just trying to put some complex equation into something that actually is so freaking simple, guys? That is what I'm going to explain to you. And I feel like, honestly, this really is probably the most simple thing that we do in cycling, guys. The by far number one thing that we want to prioritize during this base period, guys, is nothing more than the simple fact of being consistent with our trainings. Guys, within the same concept as what we've talked about many times, it really is that simple. We need to do a lot of easy training, a couple little parts of hard training, and that is the equation to get good at endurance sports. So, what do we want to do during base training? We want to do everything possible to maintain a consistent training plan. What does that mean? We want to avoid at all costs any red zone, okay, guys? Red zone meaning stuff that is going to put our body really in the red zone, meaning we need to rest. We need to take 3 days easy, maybe even 2 days on the couch, which is going to break our consistency, guys. If you're sitting on the couch, you ain't doing any training. You ain't getting any consistent good training in that body, obviously. Getting away from that red zone for a few months, prioritizing at all costs training consistency. What can we do that is going to allow us to train as consistently as we possibly can? Never put your body in the red zone. That means no 10-hour rides, because then the next 2 days you're going to have to take those off because you put your body in the red zone. No insanely hard VO2 work, because yeah, that puts our body into the red zone. We might have to take some extra recovery after that to compensate and to get back to this normal healthy zone of fatigue. That is what we want to avoid, guys, during base phase. What does that end up looking like? Well, a lot more low intensity work, because again, that low intensity work is not that red zone work. It's not going to put our body into this red alert zone. So we can do a lot more of it. We can maintain that consistency over these November, December, January months without ever getting to our red zone, which in the end is going to look on Strava with a bunch of nice columns like this over the 3 months of time. That is building a good base, guys. It doesn't really have to do as much with, oh my God, we're going to only do low intensity during the winter because that's base season, and we're maybe going to do a little bit of whatever thing that's read in an article that says it's good for building your base. The point is, guys, you want to be maximally consistent during this time. That's the important thing. Now, during the season when we're traveling, that's 2 days lost right there. That takes away from your consistency. Then maybe let's do, if you're a pro, in my case, I do a 5-day stage race. End that race and my body's way deep in the red zone, okay? Then I need to take 2 or 3 days completely off the bike to recover. All of these over the course of a season, that can actually erode our base, okay? Because we have these kind of ups and downs, and you can see, if you look at a graph on Training Peaks of your load, you can kind of see those ups and downs, and sometimes that can erode our base, our consistency. But in the winter, when we're at home, we're not traveling, some of us are even indoors, we have nothing that's going to stop us from being maximally consistent. We can just consistently build that load over a long period of time. And guess what, guys? That is what building a base is. Literally, that's it. Second pitfall here, guys, is doing a base phase that is too long, okay? So how does this happen? A lot of athletes, if here we are in November, and they're looking at their calendar saying, oh yeah, I want to be really good for this Grand Fondo in July of next year. So what does that leave me? Well, I want to do this base phase in the winter. Oh man, that's going to mean 7 months of base training, okay? This is kind of a place where a lot of people maybe make a mistake in thinking that you can just kind of perpetually do this base phase because you don't want to like turn on the burners too early or like peak too early or stuff like this. So how do you really need to go about this? You need to kind of plan your season, but guys, there is definitely a limit as far as like, you can't just do unlimited base training and continue to get a stronger base. There's kind of, it seems like a little bit of a limit. If you really spend a lot of time working on this kind of lower intensity stuff, a lot more of the traditional kind of base training stuff, a lot more hours, there's going to get to a point where you have that freaking base just massively constructed, really well built. And that's when you're going to have to either identify, okay, this is kind of where I want to be as far as my aerobic base. Now I need to pass to the second phase. Now that's going to, how long is that base phase going to be for each person is going to vary massively depending on your fitness level, depending on how many years you have in the sport, depending on tons of things, guys. So it's going to be very individual, but be cognizant of, okay, we don't want to just do 8 months of base training, okay? Like, that's just not going to have you progressing at your maximum rate. What we need to do is these micro cycles, right? Build that base, pass to the next phase, periodize your training. And that can be done over the course of 8-10 months, multiple times. And theoretically, you build that base, you pass to the next phase, you do some intense work, some more structured work, etc. Then you do a little bit of a rest afterwards, and then you go back and you rebuild that base. That is where the progress really is, in my opinion, from what I've seen from myself, from other riders, etc. It's not in doing a more lengthy base phase, okay? It's in doing more of these micro cycles. So be aware of that. Have that in the back of your mind when you're planning your season. This is where a coach can definitely help with the planning of that. If you guys are looking for one, shoot me a message, as always, but I'll leave my email there. But that's kind of what I want you guys to think about when it comes to this. And then the third pitfall, guys, and how could I possibly make a video without talking about the stupid shit that I've done in myself in the past, guys? This one is going to be doing way too much, just of everything, during this base phase. Again, the base phase is, the idea of this is to get us simply to the next phase ready to do that work. Physically, mentally ready to do that work. What you do not want, and this is something that I've done way too many times, like I say, is smash yourself to the ground in the base phase and get to most of this time. If in my case, if I start my kind of preparation preseason base training in November, December, January, that's 3 months right there. If I'm in a body bag come January, I've really messed up. And I've done this many times. I know, here I am mid-January thinking, oh my God, I feel like I need a fucking off season right now. Like this is, I messed this up big time. So pace yourself. We want to be very gentle with ourselves during this base season. Make sure that we get to that next phase where we're going to start incorporating those higher intensities more often, really kind of honing in on more specific parts of our plan that we're trying to work on, specific types of efforts to improve a certain area of our performance, etc. That's going to mostly happen in these next phases down the road. Right now, we just want to be very gentle, prepare our body, give max consistency, prioritize nothing more than just unbelievable consistency right now, guys. Don't put your body into the red zone. And yeah, you absolutely can put your body into this red zone by doing too many hours of just pretty chilled volume. You can. Now, you have to have a lot of time and be a freaking idiot like I was many times, okay, doing those 40-hour weeks and shit like that. Probably not going to be the case for most of you guys because you're not like me, but chill out. We want to get to that part of the season fresh and ready to go, prepared, able to tolerate the next phase, able to slurp in that work that we're going to dose our body with in the next phase and be prepared to do it. That's the only point of this phase, guys, of the base preparation period. So, with those things said, guys, that's kind of a little bit of a base training rant, okay? It really is this like thing that a lot of people think that it's so much more complicated than it really needs to be, but actually it's the most easy thing to do. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. We're gonna have a lot more videos coming, guys. It's time to grind. I'm super hyped. Thanks for watching, guys. Give me that like as always. Really appreciate the support. Any comments, etc. I'll leave my email here if anyone wants to email me about whatever, sponsorships, whatever. I'm just kidding. Peace out, guys. Thanks for watching.